What, no invitation card? How utterly unexpected, kindly sir. I implore you to find your place at the farthest reaches of the room. The receptionist's voice sliced through the air like a chilling wind aimed squarely at the old man. He donned a tattered coat, a small wooden box gripped tightly in his hands. He glided silently to the rear of the auditorium, a shadow among the crowd, until a general strode onto the stage, his gaze sweeping the room, and in a commanding voice inquired, "Is Mr. Samuel Hale present?" Type yes if you hold the conviction that the elderly are worthy of our utmost respect. At the venerable age of 84, Samuel Ed Hale stood as a testament to the passage of time, a figure sculpted by the trials of conflict, yet tempered by an enduring, serene strength. A former Marine sergeant, he had savoured the acrid dust of conflict in Khe Sanh, 1968, a year that indelibly etched itself into the fabric of his being. In the waning hours of his existence, he found solace within the humble walls of a quaint abode, nestled on the vast fringes of Charlotte, North Carolina. In the face of relentless aches and the burdens of advanced age, he held on to his independence with a fierce tenacity, skillfully orchestrating his own affairs, a true testament to the indomitable spirit shaped in the fiery crucible of war. He was a man of rituals, and within those rituals one possessed a depth of meaning that bordered on the sacred. Year after year, without a hint of hesitation, Samuel graced the state-level remembrance ceremony with his presence. It was not for the sake of accolades or the pursuit of personal glory. Rather, it was a profoundly personal journey, a sacred promise he had sworn to the 7 brave souls who had never returned from Khe Sanh. Their names, inscribed not merely on stone but woven into the very essence of his soul, were a burden he bore with an exquisite, almost overwhelming tenderness. He devoted himself to uttering their names, to softly breathing their legacy into the vibrant corridors, ensuring they would not fade into oblivion, not by his hand, nor by anyone else's. This year, the ceremony unfolded with an unparalleled grandeur, a meticulously orchestrated spectacle set against the magnificent backdrop of the sprawling Mecklenburg County Auditorium. The atmosphere crackled with electric anticipation, alive with the presence of illustrious generals, revered dignitaries, and a vibrant swarm of media representatives, their cameras at the ready to immortalize every pivotal instant. Samuel made his entrance with impeccable timing, a testament to the unwavering discipline forged through decades of military service. His tattered tweed overcoat, though meticulously cleaned and patched, clashed dramatically with the pristine starched uniforms and elegant designer suits that reigned over the stylish throng. In his hands he held a small, unassuming wooden box, a vessel of secrets and untold stories, its presence both humble and profound. It stood as a poignant vessel of memory, cradling not mere jewels or material wealth, but treasures of immeasurable worth. Within its confines lay the dog tags of his fallen comrades, a delicate collection of handwritten letters, fragile testaments to dreams once vibrant and fears left unvoiced. Among these relics rested a single creased photograph of his old unit, their faces imbued with youth and hope, blissfully ignorant of the impending horrors that loomed on the horizon. These were not just objects, they were shards of existence, resonating with the joyous laughter of shared moments and the haunting whispers of a battle long left in silence. With each passing year, he presented them a solemn, nearly hallowed tribute to honor the memory of his fallen brothers in arms. As he drew near the registration desk, a young receptionist, her hair styled to perfection, glanced up with an expression that was a masterclass in polite indifference. With a sweeping gaze, she perused her impeccably arranged guest list, her fingers dancing gracefully along the columns, then retracing their path, a subtle furrow forming on her flawlessly powdered brow. "I apologize, sir," she declared, her voice dripping with a sweetness that felt rehearsed, yet beneath it lay an unmistakable chill. "Your name appears to be absent from the guest list, much to my dismay." Her gaze momentarily danced over his tattered coat, then settled on the wooden box, a glimmer of something resembling mild disdain crossing her features. She lingered in silence, a subtle sigh escaping her lips as she swept her hand dismissively, and remarked, No invitation card. "Kindly, sir, I implore you to find your place at the rear of the room." Her words, though softly spoken, bore an unmistakable gravity of judgment, a quiet yet piercing dismissal that lingered in the air. The atmosphere enveloped him heavy with an unmistakable weight of isolation that wrapped around him like a shroud. Onlookers in the vicinity, captivated by the unfolding dialogue, shot fleeting, inquisitive glances in his direction. Their eyes shimmered with a blend of pity and disdain, as though he were an aberration, an unwelcome spectre haunting their carefully curated assembly. He existed like a phantom, a remnant from a bygone age, utterly misplaced and adrift in the currents of time. Yet Samuel remained silent, offering no protest, no argument, and not even a flicker of resentment. Though his shoulders were stooped with the weight of age, they bore an underlying strength, a quiet dignity that the relentless passage of time and hardship could never diminish. He nodded a subtle yet profound inclination of his head, embracing his destiny with an unwavering composure. He pivoted, each movement measured and intentional, as he glided down the lengthy aisle, his footsteps whispering against the soft carpet beneath him. He selected a seat nestled in the final row nearest to the wall, a lone silhouette amidst a tide of eager visages. With a fierce grip, he held the wooden box close, drawing comfort from its reassuring heft, a precious, palpable connection to the very purpose that had summoned him to this moment. As the auditorium swelled with eager anticipation, he transformed into a mere spectre on the fringes, his existence appearing trivial, his steadfast determination swallowed by the symphony of polite conversation and the soft rustle of programs. Not a soul perceived the flicker in his gaze, the layers of wisdom carved into his visage, or the deep-seated melancholy that resonated beneath his seemingly modest facade. There he sat, an elderly figure draped in a tattered coat, ensconced in solitude at the rear, poised for a fleeting moment of serene reflection. Have you ever witnessed the cruel dismissal of an individual solely due to their absence of status? This tale will compel you to rethink everything you thought you knew. Samuel's past unfolded like a grand tapestry, intricately woven with threads of heroism and sacrifice. It was a narrative largely hidden from the world's gaze, a poignant testament to a generation whose valor remained largely unacknowledged and unrecorded. In the year of 1968, he stood not merely as a Marine, but as a sergeant, a battle-hardened leader at the helm of a vital engineering team, guiding them through the crucible of conflict. They became trapped in the merciless, unyielding siege of Khe Sanh, a name that continues to evoke chills in the hearts of those who endured its horrors. The air was alive with the electric tension of impending doom, the earth quaked beneath the weight of detonations, and the adversary, merciless and hidden, encroached from every direction. Their unit lay shattered, battered, and trapped, ensnared in a relentless grip of iron and flames, with no glimmer of hope for escape. The circumstances were grave, teetering on the edge of despair, a reckless wager for existence. Amidst the swirling tempest of turmoil, Samuel found himself at a crossroads, faced with a choice so profound that it would etch itself into the very fabric of his being, though it would remain shrouded in secrecy from the eyes of the world. He stepped forward, a brave soul, willing to remain to serve as a decoy to lure the enemy's fire away from his fleeing brothers in arms. It was an act of profound selflessness, a breathtaking display of courage, a daring gamble forged in desperation, and an unwavering devotion to his comrades. As the enemy tightened their grip, their fierce shouts reverberating through the dense jungle, he skillfully guided them away, crafting a masterful diversion, a fleeting opportunity for his team to slip away, to break free from the nightmarish trap. He transformed into the bait, a lone silhouette offering himself up for the faint glimmer of hope that others might endure. The cacophony of war roared around him, an overwhelming tide of fear that surged through the air, yet Samuel stood resolute, unleashing his firepower, darting with purpose, determined to project an image of formidable strength to his foes. He confronted the relentless fury of the enemy's onslaught, enduring ghastly injuries, scars that would haunt him eternally, both seen and unseen. For 9 excruciating days he lay gravely wounded, desperately clinging to life within the jungle's merciless grasp, believed to be dead by both his comrades and the military records. He drifted like a spectre through the ravaged terrain of war, abandoned and overlooked by the very system that had cast him into this chaos. Yet defying every expectation, propelled by an indomitable spirit and an astonishing twist of fate, Samuel Hale emerged victorious from the jaws of despair. In a stunning turn of fate, he was discovered hanging by a thread to existence and ultimately saved, pulled back from the edge of nothingness. Yet in the shadow of his extraordinary valor and the life-altering consequences of his deeds, Samuel remained unadorned by even a solitary medal. His mission, his sacrifice, remained forever unchronicled, lost to the annals of time. It was a clandestine mission, a bold gambit, a tale of unspoken bravery that lingered only in the shattered recollections of those he rescued, a muted display of courage obscured by the intricate web of military red tape and the haze of conflict. Now at the heart of the stage, illuminated by the radiant glow of spotlights, stood a figure exuding an aura of formidable power and unwavering respect, General Calvin M. Gaines. He stood as the principal speaker, the esteemed luminary of the occasion, a man whose illustrious career shone brightly as a testament to military prowess, his chest resplendent with medals and ribbons, tokens of honor earned through years of dedicated service. What remained a secret to all in the room, a mere whisper of the past to most, was that General Gaines had once been a mere young private, a trembling recruit ensnared in the fiery chaos of Kaysan, a member of Samuel's very own unit. He was among the souls Samuel had rescued, one of the lives for which he had dared it all. He was indebted to Samuel for it all. His life, his career, his very existence unfolded as a profound testament to Samuel's selfless act. For decades this debt loomed over General Gaines's heart, a silent vow he bore, a deep-seated longing to repay a kindness that had been his lifeline. For years he had embarked on a relentless quest to find Samuel, a journey marked by quiet determination and unwavering resolve. Yet the military records remained maddeningly obscure, the unofficial circumstances surrounding Samuel's sacrifice rendering him nearly impossible to locate through the usual avenues. This ceremony, this gathering, was a last-ditch effort, a fervent plea to summon the spectre of his past. In the dim light of the grand hall, Samuel lingered in the back row, a lone silhouette against the opulence surrounding him. His hands gripped the weathered wooden box tightly as a soft whisper of intrigue fluttered through the seats nearby. A handful of attendees, their eyes drawn to the old man's unassuming demeanor and his peculiar companion, exchanged hushed whispers, their tones laced with a casual air of disdain. Perhaps a mere figment of imagination, one man whispered, his voice barely rising above the murmur laced with a palpable skepticism that hung in the air. Year after year there emerges a figure seeking the spotlight, perhaps yearning for a gesture of generosity. They believed him to be a charlatan, a mere impostor, craving accolades he had not earned, or perhaps a solitary spirit adrift in the splendor of the moment. They were unable to comprehend the profound depths of his unspoken courage, the deep scars he bore, the heavy burden of memories that summoned him back each year. Their hasty and shallow assessment shrouded his serene dignity in darkness, transforming a noble hero into a mere shadow of a caricature. A wide-eyed, innocent child, no more than 7 years of age, perched a few rows ahead with his parents, turned and fixed his gaze upon Samuel. His eyes, expansive and brimming with a blend of awe and pure curiosity, appeared to pierce through the tattered coat and the scornful murmurs that surrounded him. Samuel caught the boy's gaze, and in spite of the sharp sting of the other's indifference, he bestowed a gentle, reassuring smile that spoke volumes. His face, though deeply lined by the relentless march of time and engraved with the enduring scars of struggle, radiated a profound kindness, an almost otherworldly tranquility. As I sit here, a wave of memories washes over me, honoring my friend's son. His words linger in the air, a gentle, soothing rumble, free from the shadows of self-pity or bitterness. The boy, perhaps attuned to the hushed reverence woven into Samuel's words, or perhaps merely reacting to the heartfelt warmth radiating from his smile, nodded with a simplicity that shone like a beacon, his innocent comprehension a strikingly beautiful counterpoint to the pervasive cynicism of the adults surrounding him. Samuel's eyes were riveted to the stage, his focus unyielding, as he awaited the poignant moment to pay tribute to his fallen comrades, a solemn obligation that eclipsed any notion of status or ephemeral acclaim. He was a man of resolute intent, his very being a poignant homage to those who would forever be absent from the throngs of a bustling hall. General Gaines, a commanding presence radiating an air of solemn gravitas, ascended the stage with an undeniable intensity. The spotlights bathed his distinguished face in a radiant glow, transforming him into a figure of heroism as he commenced his solemn address. His voice, a clarion call that echoed through the expansive auditorium, resonated with clarity and purpose. Every word was meticulously selected, every phrase articulated with the disciplined finesse of a seasoned commander. He spoke with fervor of valor, of duty, and of the indomitable spirit of the armed forces, recounting the profound sacrifices made in the name of freedom. The audience hung on every word, their heads nodding in unison, faces illuminated by a profound sense of patriotism and reverence for those who had fallen. He extolled the valor of the soldiers, the steadfast devotion of their families, and the timeless legacy of American fortitude. He glided effortlessly into the segment of his address devoted to paying tribute to those who had given everything, their names forever inscribed in the chronicles of time, their tales shared with profound respect. The atmosphere in the auditorium fell into a deep silence, a collective moment steeped in profound remembrance, a shared acknowledgement of the weight of loss that lingered in the air. The general's voice took on a tender yet weighty tone, brimming with significance as he readied himself to unveil a roster of heroes. Then, with a suddenness that was almost undetectable at first, General Gaines came to a halt. He halted mid-sentence, his eyes roving over the expansive hall, a questing look in their depths, as a fleeting shadow of something enigmatic, something profoundly intimate, danced across his countenance. The majestic flow of his speech was abruptly shattered, giving way to an unforeseen, chilling silence that hung in the air. The silence enveloped the atmosphere, thick and palpable, compelling every gaze to converge upon the general. Today, he declared, his voice resonating with a newfound fervor, a visceral edge of emotion that caught many off guard. I cannot proceed with this ceremony not until I uncover the identity of the man who made it possible for me to stand here today, a man whose unwavering courage has not only saved my life but also the lives of countless others. His words, infused with an unyielding conviction, sliced through the haze of lingering confusion. The audience quivered with anticipation. Whispers danced among the seats, soft inquiries resonating in the abrupt silence. What was he up to? Whom was he seeking with such fervent urgency, such intense emotion that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break? The general dismissed the perplexed murmurs that surrounded him. His eyes, keen and intense, swept across each face, every row, every lurking shadow in pursuit of one elusive figure, a spectre from his history. He was not merely looking, he was on a quest, driven by the fervor of a man with a purpose. With a voice that resonated with both reverence and a fervent hope, he called out his words, slicing through the haze of confusion and anticipation reverberating against the lofty ceilings. Is Mr. Samuel Hale present in this moment? The question lingered, charged with intensity and surprise, like a sudden storm breaking the stillness of the hall. Every head in the auditorium turned, a synchronized movement of intrigue and astonishment, a wave of reaction beginning from the front rows and cascading backward. Every gaze swept across the rows, fervently seeking the elusive figure the general desperately sought, a man whose name had remained shrouded in obscurity for the vast majority until this very moment. Samuel, still gripping his wooden box, stood as a solitary figure in the shadows, hesitating. He cast his gaze about, a flicker of uncertainty dancing in his eyes, as though he questioned whether the summons was indeed meant for him, pondering if perhaps another soul shared that name. He was a man who had grown familiar with the shadows, a figure often lost in the tapestry of life, perpetually unnoticed. With a deliberate inhalation that appeared to draw upon the burdens of countless years, he commenced his ascent. His actions were hesitant, almost unwilling, as if he sought to evade the spotlight even now in this moment of unforeseen acknowledgement. As their eyes locked, a torrent of unvoiced memories surged forth, bridging the chasm of decades that lay between General Gaines and him. General Gaines, his gaze piercing through the crowd, caught sight of Samuel emerging from the shadows at the rear of the hall, a delicate yet resolute silhouette. Without hesitation, he took action. In a swift, decisive motion, he stepped down from the stage, leaving his astonished aides in stunned silence, not a single word escaping his lips. With each commanding stride, he surged down the main aisle, his uniform a whirlwind of dynamic energy. His eyes were locked onto Samuel, a singular purpose igniting a fire within his gaze, a lifetime of gratitude surging him onward. He strode confidently past the rows of astonished dignitaries, through the throngs of bewildered media, and beyond the silent, questioning faces, his determination unyielding. The entire hall held its breath, captivated as the illustrious general, a figure of great authority and renown, made his way toward the humble old man, seated in the shadows, a moment unfolding with the grandeur of a cinematic spectacle. Upon reaching Samuel, General Gaines made no move for a handshake, nor did he extend a casual greeting. In that moment, before the vast expanse of the auditorium, under the relentless gaze of flashing cameras, and amidst the hushed, eager crowd, he came to a halt, stood tall and resolute, and executed a sharp, resonant military salute. It was a gesture steeped in the deepest respect, a wordless proclamation of immense gratitude, a shining testament to a hierarchy of honor that soared above rank and formality. Samuel, caught in a moment of bewilderment, yet acutely aware of the profound sincerity enveloping him, instinctively returned the salute. His gesture, however, was deliberate and measured, burdened by the passage of time and the quiver of deep-seated emotion. It was a poignant salute exchanged between two veterans, two men who grasped the profound dialect of sacrifice more intimately than anyone else. Then General Gaines spoke, his voice ringing out with clarity and depth, imbued with a palpable emotion that quivered ever so slightly, reverberating through the hushed hall. His words resonated not only with Samuel, but with every soul gathered there, a profound revelation that obliterated all previous beliefs, a truth that tore through the courteous facade of the ceremony. "Sir," he declared, his gaze unwavering, brimming with profound, heartfelt emotion, his voice laden with unspoken gratitude. "You held the esteemed position of my superior officer. There is no requirement for a card to grace this place. Your existence is the very essence of my being, the spark that ignites my will to live each day. You are the very force that compels me to stand before this great nation." The effect of his words struck like a thunderclap, resonating with an intensity that was both immediate and all-consuming. A collective gasp swept through the audience, swiftly followed by an overwhelming surge of deep comprehension. The whispers faded into oblivion, giving way to an awe-struck stillness. In a breathtaking moment, the entire auditorium surged to its feet, united in a thunderous expression of admiration. Applause erupted, a resounding wave that surged through every corner of the hall, swelling in intensity as the truth took hold, as the profound significance of Samuel's understated bravery finally reverberated. In that poignant moment, a wave of raw emotion swept through the audience, leaving many with tears cascading down their cheeks, a powerful tribute to the often overlooked sacrifices made in silence. It was an intense, profound response to a revelation that had been long awaited, a moment of shared enlightenment. Those who had murmured in skepticism, who had cast shadows of doubt, who had relegated Samuel to the realm of mere fiction or obscurity, now found themselves humbled, their heads bowed in a deep and haunting regret. Their swift conclusions were stripped of pretense revealed by the stark, irrefutable truth, their cheeks burning with shame. A young officer, deeply stirred by the extraordinary spectacle before him, his eyes shimmering with emotion, stepped forward and tenderly grasped Samuel's arm, extending both support and reverence. He was led forth not to a shadowy corner but to a seat of distinction, a realm of respect and admiration positioned right beside General Gaines, the very man whose life he had so valiantly preserved. The applause surged a relentless wave, honoring a genuine hero at last acknowledged, at last revered, not for accolades pursued, but for a life forged in unyielding bravery. Following the ceremony, enveloped in the vibrant echoes of exhilaration and a fresh wave of admiration, Samuel steadfastly adhered to his true self. The media descended like a tempest, fervently seeking interviews, yearning to seize every fragment of his tale. As dignitaries drew near, they bestowed upon him a cascade of accolades and fervent praise. Yet Samuel, embodying a serene nobility that was distinctly his own, gracefully turned down every invitation for interviews, every offer of gifts, and every plea to deliver a speech. He was absent from the grand celebration, from the ephemeral brilliance of the spotlight that had quite unexpectedly illuminated his presence. His purpose was realized, his friends immortalized in memory, their sacrifice honored not solely by him, but by a gathering of souls united in reverence. That was more than sufficient. His solitary act, following the ceremony, was one of quiet yet profound significance, a gesture that resonated deeply, revealing the true essence of his character. With a solemn expression etched upon his features, he made his way toward the curator of the War Museum, a profound tranquility enveloping his gaze. With a delicate, almost sacred gesture, he presented the small wooden box that had accompanied him tirelessly throughout the day, the keeper of his most treasured and agonizing memories. Within the confines rested the dog tags, the delicate handwritten letters, the weathered unit photograph, each a poignant reminder of a past that was both agonizing and revered. "I've held on to it long enough," Samuel declared, his voice a gentle yet resolute whisper, resonating with an undeniable sense of conclusion. "Now the tales of their lives shall echo through the hearts of many, their narratives woven into the fabric of our shared existence." It was a poignant act of release, a solemn entrustment of his most cherished and agonizing memories to the embrace of a shared consciousness. In doing so, he ensured that the legacy of his fallen comrades would transcend the confines of his own heart, allowing their sacrifices to weave into the timeless tapestry of history. Little did Samuel know, a keen-eyed photojournalist lurking amidst the crowd had immortalized a moment of profound significance, forever etching it into the annals of time. The esteemed general, a figure of great might and command, lowered his head in deep reverence to the humble elder, clad in a tattered coat, the image pulsating with raw emotion, and an undeniable truth surged through the digital realm, captivating hearts and minds alike as it went viral in an instant. It swept through social media like wildfire, shared millions of times, accompanied by a caption that, though simple, struck a chord so profound it echoed in the hearts of people around the world. Honor stands tall, unbound by the constraints of a mere name tag. The photograph emerged as a striking emblem, a stirring reminder that authentic greatness frequently lurks in the open, that dignity and courage are not always celebrated by grand titles or accolades, and that at times the most remarkable heroes are those who seek nothing in return. It ignited a global dialogue about reverence, unsung champions, and the profound essence of sacrifice. As the sun commenced its languid descent, casting elongated golden shadows that danced across the majestic entrance of the auditorium, Samuel stepped forth into the gentle embrace of the afternoon light. The day's unforeseen twist had lifted his spirits as though a weight he had carried for ages, a quiet watch, had at last been released. The burden of his memories, though ever palpable, now seemed to be borne by others as well. In the distance, she stood waiting for him, her face radiant with pride and relief, a shining beacon of youthful innocence and unwavering love. She dashed toward him, her delicate hand clasping his, with fervor, a steadfast anchor in the tempest of his existence. "Grandpa," she inquired, her voice a delicate whisper of awe, her gaze lifted to him brimming with admiration. "Will you grace us with your presence at the ceremony?" Next year, Samuel gazed into the dimming horizon, a subtle, satisfied smile gracing his lips as a soft breeze danced through his delicate strands of hair. His return was utterly unnecessary. His solemn duty, his understated mission, had reached its triumphant conclusion. He had accomplished the very mission he had embarked upon. "No need, my dear," he murmured, his voice imbued with a serene tranquility, echoing the weight of a lifetime steeped in quiet determination. "Today the cherished friends of your grandpa have been honored in our hearts and minds." In that singular declaration, the weight of a lifetime's sacrifice echoed as a generation of unheralded heroes finally discovered their voice. Have you ever witnessed a soul cast aside merely for the absence of a claim unveil their tale? For it is often the silent champions who carry the burdens of an entire era upon their shoulders. Subscribe, follow the thread, and allow YouTube to whisper to you that some heroes walk among us, never daring to don the mantle of heroism.